I want to welcome you to the Pennsylvania Avenue Billie Holiday Festival. And I have two dynamic ladies with me today. We're going to be talking about home ownership, managing credit, and some community development going on right here in your community. So I want to welcome Jules, Dunham-Howie. Okay, did I get that right?
Yes, sir.
All right. I want to make sure. And Milan, Griffin, how you doing, Milan?
Great. Thank you for having me.
Oh, man, I'm just so excited to be you outstanding ladies. First, tell me about your organization. Jules, I'll start with you.
Thank you. I am the director of the Upton Planning Committee's CDC, which is called UPC Westside CDC, and we are facilitating the implementation of the 2026 Upton Master Plan in the community from the bricks and mortar development side.
Okay, and Milan, tell me what's going on with Home Free and why you're part of this conversation.
So Home Free USA, we have had the pleasure of working with Upton on many occasions, and specifically on the side of helping their residents in the Upton community be able to get the housing counseling and homeownership advice and guidance that they need to get mortgage ready, and then hopefully become homeowners in the Upton community. So Home Free USA, again, we are nonprofit certified homeownership advisors, and our job is to guide renters from renting to homeownership, helping to make the process of home buying easier by way of providing credit help and assistance to find and secure a down payment, as well as mortgage approval.
Well, I think the first thing I have to talk about real quickly is the whole notion of buying a home during COVID-19. Now, I understand, Jules, that you have 75 homes in the area that you're actually renovating, going to sell to local residents. Let's talk about that. And Milan, I want you to jump in there right after that. Share with us, how do I get over my fear of even thinking about buying a home right now? Jules, why don't you start us off?
Well, I would say that now is the time to think about buying a home in community. Why? Because of COVID-19, the interest rates are the lowest that we have seen in decades. And so when you are talking about home ownership, you're talking about getting a mortgage for 30 years. And you're talking about paying interest for 30 years. So just think about it. If you could get a mortgage and pay 3.5% interest over 30 years versus 6.5% interest over 30 years, you're talking about saving tens of thousands of dollars off of the cost of that particular property. So often when there are crises in community, that is an opportunity as well. And so what we are working to do is to ensure that people who are already in our home ownership pipeline, they don't get scared by the fact that COVID is around. They don't get scared about taking on the responsibility of owning a home, because now you're going to be actually securing your future at a lower cost, and you cannot beat that.
Now, Jules, what's the price range of these homes you have?
Well, it's a wonderful story in Upton, because when we started our work, which we've been working in this community for over 20 years, but the last 2 years we have been working, and we started, they said that our houses were worth $90,000, Kelvin. And we're talking about for a 3-story row home that is 3,000 square feet. Wow. They wanted to say was worth $90,000. Now, we actually have houses that have been renovated and are selling, and they are selling for $250,000. Okay. And so we have over a half a dozen comps right now, homes that have sold between $250,000 to $270,000. And so now all of us who've been holding on in community, we're going to be able to ride the wave and finally begin to have some equity in our homes and begin to live the American dream.
So are your houses that you're renovating now, are they in the $200,000 range? Yes.
So the price point on them is about $225,000 to $250,000.
Still great price for a 3,000 square foot home. Come on in here, Milan. Come on, you know Home Free. I love Home Free USA.
Oh, well, Jules really said it all, but it's just so important to just elaborate on some of the things she mentioned. The time is now to buy. As Jules said, the interest rates are definitely on the side of home buyers, what we have to realize is anytime there is even a percentage point interest rate increase, it could add hundreds of dollars to your monthly mortgage payment. And so this is a good time to buy. And then when you complement it with housing opportunity and programs like Upton, it's really spectacular. And then when we look at it, places like Baltimore City and places throughout the nation have down payment and closing cost assistance programs. In many programs, you can layer, so you can add money onto these programs. But it's important that home buyers, people who are just, even if you're just at the point of being tired of renting, which everybody probably is now because we've been stuck in the house for so long, that being tired of renting, being frustrated with your landlord, this is a good time to take that frustration and move it so that you can create power for yourselves and your family by moving towards home ownership starting today.
Milan, while I have you here, let's talk about some of these home buyer assistance programs. I'm assuming that Upton has one, but break that down for somebody who may have never really heard of home buyer assistance.
Well, just in general, to paint the picture, you know, when you are looking to buy a home, there are some standard what are called upfront costs. And these upfront costs include everything from a home inspection, which all home buyers, I don't care if you're a third-time home buyer, should always have, so you know what's going on within the walls of the house. But you have upfront costs including home inspection, a variety of other things, but two of the biggest costs is your down payment, the upfront fee you have to put on your home so that you are showing that you're serious and you're ready to move forward to the home. It's the skin you have in the game. And then you have your closing costs, and those are a series of costs, a collection of different expenses that are required just to close out on the loan and to transfer the ownership of the property from the seller to you now, the new owner. And so when it comes to down payment and closing cost assistance, just to wrap this up and make it as palatable as it can be, if you're buying a home for $100,000, your down payment requirement on certain types of loan could be about 3.5% of the sales price. The closing cost could be about anywhere upwards of 5% of the closing cost. So when you're buying a home, not only do you have some smaller fees like the home inspection, which are still a couple $100s, but you have two huge fees called down payment and closing costs. So if you're buying a home for $100,000 and you have to put down 3.5% on that sales price, that means that you're looking at $3,500 for the down payment, and then for closing costs at 5%, you're looking at $5,000. So just on a $100,000 home, you could be spending about $8,000, $8,500 just to get into that home. That is scary for a lot of home buyers, especially first-time home buyers. So in order to make it more affordable, cities, states, counties, even employers, and even developers and communities like Upton offer down payment and closing cost assistance. These are programs you have to qualify for. These are programs you have to meet the eligibility for. But if you do that and you get the programs and you qualify and get approved for the programs that are right for you, as a renter, you could end up buying your home for little to no money down. So it's just important to talk to an advisor to know what your options are. Talk to a home ownership advisor, know what your options are, and discover great opportunities like Upton have, because they do have down payment assistance towards the homes that they're selling as well.
No, I think that's great for people to understand. So basically, get into the homes we're talking about. Traditionally, you might need $15,000 just to qualify. But what we're saying is because you have some special incentives for people to qualify, they can drastically reduce that or may not see it at all. That being said, that's great. The other quick question that often gets people into challenges when it comes to buying a home is credit. Whether they've had some credit challenges, not anybody on this call except for me. But anyway, that's a different story. We'll come back to that later. The point is, let's talk about credit. Let's talk about, number one, what do you need to qualify? But more importantly, Milan, I'm going to ask you first, because I know you deal a lot with credit. Give us some tips or advice to help people get ready, not only just for home ownership, but for managing their credit during COVID-19.
So, that's a powerful question, how to manage your credit through COVID-19. So the same credit rules apply. Pay your bills. I don't even want to say on time. Pay your bills early because, on time you start running late. So pay your bills early. When you can, pay more than the minimum. And if you can't, just pay the minimum. And don't close your credit cards if they're out of use because it may negatively ding your score. So there are a couple of common credit principles that you want to stay to. 30%. You want to stay 30% of your or below of your balance. But during COVID, it is extremely important to call your creditors. If you are currently a homeowner, call your mortgage company. And if you're experiencing any financial hardships related to COVID, if you are a renter, call your landlord if you can't pay the rent. If you're experiencing financial hardships related to COVID, there have been provisions that have been approved through the CARES Act to prevent foreclosure, evictions, but you want to make sure that you stay ahead, you stay in charge. If you have any financial hardships related to COVID, pick up the phone, call your credit card company, your landlord, your mortgage company, or whomever. They'll more than likely work with you at this point.
Great. Jules, what I want to get back to you, I want to talk to you about just the whole area. Are you really developing things right now during COVID-19? A lot of people just thinking everything is just shut down, nothing really going on. But we know that there are opportunities, and I'm glad that you're on here because you represent an opportunity. Right now, you represent a great opportunity. Tell people about the opportunities that you see in Baltimore and in Upton based on just what you're doing that people should be taking advantage of, because we can't wait after COVID-19 is over to take advantage of the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kelvin. You're absolutely right. And right now, as we said, the time is now if you're looking to buy, but we have 38 houses that will be coming online in the 800 block of Harlem and the 800 block of Edmondson Avenues in the Upton community. These are gorgeous, as I said, 4,000 square feet row homes that will be fully renovated, and they're going to be coming online. The first ones, we're hoping the model home will be available for people to see within the next 4 to 5 months. And so that will be a great opportunity for someone who's looking to buy. And as Milan talked about in our community, we are working to make sure that we do revitalization without displacement. So what does that mean? That means that we are garnering as many resources as we possibly can so that as we revitalize these homes, that we can take some of our long-term renters, they've rented their whole life, and help them transition to become homeowners in our community. So we created a couple creative programs. One is called Live Where You Educate, Live Where You Worship. And we have up to $25,000 in down payment assistance that you can apply for if you worship at one of the 30 churches in Upton, or if you work at one of the 5 schools in Upton in any capacity, you can apply for these dollars. And as Milan said, they can be stacked with other dollars. If you're a first-time home buyer, you can get dollars for that. University of Baltimore, and they actually give you dollars if you work there and you live in the community. So there are lots of programs that you can be able to apply for. But that's one set of houses. Around the corner on Dolphin Street, we've got another 8 houses that are being developed. The first 2 are on the market. They're on the market for $255. They're 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath with a full dry basement that you could finish and have 4,000 square feet if you needed it.
Wow.
Exactly. And then you go on around into our jewel in the community, which is the historic Marble Hill community, which is one of the only nationally designated Black communities in the state, historic designation, and that's Marble Hill. And in Marble Hill, we've got 10 houses that are being redeveloped right now. And those houses, we've already sold the first 2, and they sold for $250,000. And our other 8 are underway. And if you come around the corner a little bit more, right beside PS 103, which, by the way, if you don't know, that was Thurgood Marshall's elementary school. Yes, he lived right in Upton. Upton was the mecca for the African-American community. and any and everybody who was somebody, they came through Upton. And so we got 20 houses that we have that we're rehabbing there. And those houses, not all of them are as big. So the price point there won't be necessarily at that 200. It may be closer to 150. It may be 150 to 250 on those homes. And so again, there is nothing but opportunity. And during COVID, the construction industry is booming. Why? Because it is considered an essential industry. So that means we haven't missed a beat. That means the work is going to continue. And that means that we have opportunity for you in Upton. I encourage you to visit our website, www.historicupton.com, and you will be able to learn about all of the great programs and the great work that we are doing in community.
Okay, and by the way, can I move my church home? You know, I might have to go. Church home ain't give away no money like that. You know what I mean? It's like,
I said the same thing, Kelvin. I said, look, can I be a first-time buyer again? Can I be an Upton resident to get into this?
You know what I mean? It's like, hey, listen, ladies, you got to wrap it up. What's your final thought you'd like for our viewers to take away? Milan, you want to go ahead?
Well, the time is now. I mean, really, as we wrap it up, folks, as we know, even some of the biggest money moves are made when things go down, not when things are up. So don't let the pandemic and all these things scare you, but do let COVID and the pandemic activate you in your life and your sense of financial responsibility and your want to grow financially. So let's move to home ownership now. Home Free USA is here as your home ownership advisor to bridge the gap and guide you from renting to owning.
You got a website,
and thank you, Upton, for allowing me to be here today. And Kelvin.
Milan, give us your website.
It is homefreeusa.org. That's HOMEFREEUSA.org.
Jules, I give you the last word.
Thank you so much. First of all, I want to say thank you to Milan. We are grateful for our partnership with Home Free USA because we know that they provide exactly what we need in our community. And whether you are crawling, walking, or running to home ownership, they're going to hold your hand every step of the way. But I want to just give a shout out to all of our young progressive millennials that are out there, Generation Xers that are out there that are thinking about, should I buy a home? Let me help you. The housing stock that we have in Upton is the exact same housing stock that they have in Washington, D.C. And let me help you again. You are not going to be able to go to Washington, D.C. and buy a 3,000 square foot row home for $250,000. Let's try maybe $1.5 million. So the time is now for you to come to Upton because we have some beautiful, massive mansions with your names ready to be written on them. And you will be able to come to a community that has a phenomenal, rich history, great heritage, music, fun, and you'll help us be able to create the new Upton, the new Pennsylvania Avenue with an Afrocentric flair because we know who we are and we're committed to staying about our business.
All right, there you go. Well, you know, Jules just took it home, so I'm just going to say, hey, that's it. Thank you so much for being with us. Ladies, thank you. To all of you, remember to save $1 and a drink. Take care.